fourth episode of Sisters Talk podcast. I'm Charlene Lutz.
And I'm Marie Robinson.
And we are here today to talk about our creative process. And just a reminder, our podcast is centered around health and wellness and our own journeys, how the integration of health and wellness has been an integral part of creating the life that we envision.
So just when you mentioned the word creative process, of course, what comes to my mind right away is just kind of what you've immersed your whole life in terms of your art and, just all of the creating you've done around there. Do you feel like there's more to the creative process than that, though?
I do, and I think that our conversation right before we began talking today on our own, sort of what we wanted to speak about, brought this whole other component of the creative process into our minds.
Absolutely.
So yes, absolutely. I think that we're constantly creating. We're creating in our family and home lives. We're creating at work. We're creating with art. We're creating with writing. We're creating with music.
I love this expanded view because right before, I think before we started and I was thinking about this, I really was limiting my thoughts around that just to kind of the traditional idea of creating, whether it's, writing a story or, composing music or producing a piece of art, and not really thinking that the creative process is essentially anything that is in existence now that wasn't in existence before. Exactly. So it really can broaden that thought process. That's very interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we touched upon some of the things that you've done at your schools that you're the superintendent at.
Yeah. I mean, we're really trying to focus on the whole child, knowing that just the focus on academics and the cognitive realm is just no longer enough. We are whole people. We bring our whole selves to everything, and children are whole people. So really, I guess that has been happening, creating systems, creating structures, and really trying to create an environment that welcomes creativity and innovation so that we can do what's best for kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I first moved here and visited the school and was able to see the outdoor classrooms, and I was just blown away. The beautiful forest environment with these wood tables and these stumps and just these spaces for kids to go and to be creative. And like we said, even if you weren't always the only person actually moving these materials in, you were part of the mind behind it. So you were creating, and you were a huge part of that.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I think the visioning process is another piece that's really important when we think about the creative process. Yeah. I definitely see how things can unfold, and I think that helps to then take a step back and figure out what the pathway is to bring that vision to life.
Absolutely. And I think that it can be really daunting for people to think about being creative in their daily lives. We have these schedules, we have kids, we have work, we have workouts, we have all these things that we need to do. And it's like, well, I need to add this art piece in, or I need to go make a pot holder, or I need to sew, and when it feels like a chore, it's really not the same, right? So if we can sort of shift our thinking and realize that what we're doing in our daily life, whether it's cooking dinner and deciding to just totally go rogue and not use the recipe.
I love that.
Right? It's totally creative. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely your own, and you're not doing something that was already made, right?
Yeah, and it definitely contributes to wellness.
Absolutely.
I know that just seeing things come to fruition at the school is one thing. And now what I've also done is taken a more active approach just with my writing and doing a lot of journaling and really processing through things that way. And I just know when I'm able to create something and, see a blank page or see the forest and how it's developed, it's just such a sense of satisfaction. It's just, it just makes you really feel great about just how things are unfolding.
Yeah, I actually once remember telling you that after I had completed a painting that I felt the same exhilaration that I would after a great run. And that really is true, that the endorphins just go off, right? And you just really, you feel great.
And do you feel like you kind of lose, like when you really get into it, like imagine, cooking, like you mentioned, the cooking of a recipe and kind of going rogue and not using the recipe. Do you feel like when you're in that, it's kind of a flow and you lose that sense of time and space and you're just kind of immersed? How have you experienced that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I intuitively do things that way. I tend to go off script a lot in my life. I don't like to feel like I need to follow rules. I do it with art. I don't follow recipes when I cook.
Well, let me just interject, because when I first saw you cooking your pizzas and throwing them in a haphazard way in the cast iron, I was really blown away. So, and then some other various things, but you've helped me to break out of that mold, because I have been in such a rigid, I think, mindset for so long. Right. In many areas of my life. And I think that just the fact that we have been able to interact on a much deeper level since you've moved here a year and a half ago, it's really helped me to, expand on my creativity.
Well, it's amazing because I can be so rigid in areas of my life as well.
Remember the walks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I can be so tight and so rigid, but for me, art has always been a place where I could be free. Yeah. And if I made a mistake, I didn't care. Right? Because partly because I think I was teaching kids, and as an art educator, you really have to encourage. And Absolutely. One of my biggest things with them was a beautiful oops. So
I love that.
It's a book. It's a great book, and it really helped a lot of kids to overcome anxiety about trying to make it perfect.
And that can be really applied to any area of life. And I think that's what's so wonderful about working through that creative process and infusing it into whenever you're learning something new. I know that I have in the past shied away from things that weren't, quote unquote, easy to do, because I didn't want to make a mistake, or I didn't want to work through the process, because oftentimes things that I've involved myself in have come rather easily. So now I'm really making an intentional effort to learn new things that are just outside of my comfort zone.
Right, because through the process, that's how we are pushing ourselves into growth.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's so necessary to keep evolving as a human, to put ourselves into these situations where we might feel slightly uncomfortable, or we might be doing something new. I absolutely agree with you 100%. I recently decided to try and shoot a shotgun with my son for target practice, and that was really taking me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So it was a learning experience for sure.
Absolutely. And I think we have to do that. And of course, my son has got me on the dirt bike, so
right.
If someone had said to me 3 years ago or 2 years ago that you'll be riding a dirt bike, I would have said absolutely no way. Yeah. And now I'm doing it. So we just have to be open and listen to our kids. Our kids teach us so many things.
They really do.
So I think that's a great.
I think we're gonna have to revisit our.
I think we will.
I think creative process
when we come in, and we're going to be interviewing some folks coming up here in future episodes, and I think that needs to be one of the questions around the creative process. What does it look like for them? Because it is really unique for every single person.
Yeah, I'm agreeing.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. So do we want to find a message from our tea bags?
Yeah, we have a little cup of messages here, and I'll let you pick one out there.
Okay, and I'll let you read it.
Okay. Appreciate yourself and honor your soul. Appropriate.
I love that.
That's great for this.
Perfect.
Right.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Take care. We'll see you next time.